Welcome back to the deep dive. We're pulling up some interesting source material for you today, really digging in to find those key takeaways.
hmm And today we've got the Clever Girl Finance, My Wealth Plan Workbook by Bola Sokunbi.
Right. And this is, well, it's framed as a roadmap, isn't it? A guide to help you, the listener, get a handle on debt, boost your savings, and really build a foundation for, actual wealth
Yeah.
tailored to your situation.
Exactly. So our mission here is to walk through the steps this workbook suggests, pull out the most useful tools, the core ideas, basically help you map out your own path to financial freedom using this specific guide.
Okay, so where does this journey kick off? It's not like spreadsheets right away, is it?
No, not at all. Surprisingly, it starts much deeper with your money story and figuring out your why.
Your Muncie story. Okay, tell us more about that.
Well, it's fundamental, according to the workbook. You need to understand where your financial journey actually began, your childhood, how your parents talked about money or didn't, their habits, any family rules or sort of unspoken values around spending, saving, maybe even debt.
Right.
All that stuff shapes how you think and act with money now, often without you even realizing it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the workbook points out how those early environments can set up roadblocks later on. Not necessarily intentional, but ingrained.
Totally. Like maybe you spend without a plan because money just wasn't tracked growing up.
No.
Or are you kind of afraid of investing because, I don't know, maybe your family lost money or just didn't get it?
Or maybe debt was just normal. Like
Mm.
everyone had credit card balances or loans, so it doesn't feel like a big deal.
Exactly that. Or having a negative mindset, believing wealth isn't for people like you, or that money is somehow bad or stressful. The workbook really flags these common patterns.
But it doesn't just diagnose the problem, right? It offers solutions.
Right. It links specific actions to those roadblocks. So if you're spending without a plan, the action is, well, start budgeting, track your expenses,
Yeah.
fear of investing, educate yourself, start small, diversify.
Makes sense. And for the debt normalization.
Get it all down on paper, make a real plan to tackle it, and crucially, stop adding new debt. And for that negative mindset, you got to actively work on changing your thoughts.
Which flows right into your why, doesn't it?
Perfectly. And this isn't just, motivational fluff. The workbook treats your why as your core personal driver. It's what fuels you when budgeting gets tough or paying off debt feels slow.
And you can have more than one why, right? It's not just a single thing.
Absolutely. It could be about family, maybe providing security or creating experiences. It could be career-related, like funding your own business, or just personal growth, wanting that feeling of freedom.
The key point the workbook makes, though, is that it has to be your why, not what your parents want or what you see on Instagram. It has to come from you. And it can change over time, too.
Yeah, that's totally fine. It's expected to evolve.
So maybe take a second now listening.
Yeah.
What really drives you? What would financial freedom actually let you do or be? The workbook says write it down, keep it somewhere visible. It's like an anchor.
Definitely. And building on that why and tackling those mindset issues, the next big chunk is about actively cultivating the right financial mindset. Like it's a muscle you need to train.
Because let's face it, we've all made money mistakes. The workbook acknowledges that, right? But it says that doesn't block future success.
Not at all. The message is really empowering. You can succeed, but you need to build that mental strength. And one tool for that is affirmations.
Okay, affirmations.
Yeah.
How does the workbook define those simply?
Just declaring something to be true. It's about consciously choosing your thoughts, taking control of that inner voice.
Because when you start thinking about big goals being debt-free, buying a house, those old negative thoughts can pop up, like, I'm terrible with money or I'll never get there.
Exactly. So positive affirmations, when you craft them right, are tools to fight back against those thoughts, to train your brain to believe achieving your goals is possible, which then helps you take action.
And there are guidelines for creating them.
Yeah, practical ones. Keep them short, personal, present tense, like it's already happening. Positive wording, and crucially, don't compare yourself to others. It's about your progress.
Can you give some examples from the workbook?
Sure, things like money flows easily into my bank account, or I am successfully paying off my credit card debt, or I make smart, informed investment decisions. Specific is good.
And the idea is to keep them visible. Phone screen, mirror, fridge.
Yeah, exactly. See them often, say them often. It helps cement the belief, and that belief spurs action. The workbook also briefly mentions your circle of influence, the people around you. They can either support your goals or kind of drag you down.
Right, surrounding yourself with positivity. Okay, so mindset is being worked on. What's the next practical step?
Getting organized. Starting with your financial records, the workbook really stresses keeping these safe, paper or digital because, data breaches, identity theft, it's a real concern.
What kind of records are we talking about?
The really important stuff: social security cards, insurance policies, birth certificates, maybe a will, statements for retirement accounts, property deeds, records of debts, warranties for big purchases.
Okay, the essentials.
And it even gives suggested timeframes for how long to keep things. Some stuff permanently, like deeds or wills. Tax records for maybe 7 years, other things for shorter periods. It tries to make it less overwhelming.
And it mentions estate planning, too, under thinking ahead.
Yes, which is huge. Listing your assets, having a will, or maybe a trust. It's presented not just as something for the wealthy, but as a responsible step, especially if you have kids or dependents. It's about making things clear and easier for loved ones.
That's a really important point about generational thinking, even if you're just starting out.
Absolutely. It's part of that long-term vision.
Okay, another part of organizing.
Yeah.
Calculating your net worth. How's that defined?
Super simple. Assets minus liabilities.
Assets being what you own.
Right. Cash, investments, retirement funds, your house value, car value, maybe even valuable collectibles you could sell.
And liabilities are what you owe.
Exactly. Mortgage, student loans, car loans, credit card debt, any other money you owe.
So you add up the owns, subtract the owes, and the workbook suggests doing this quarterly.
Yeah, quarterly. The thinking is that seeing the change, even small shifts, every few months is more motivating than just once a year. Provides quicker feedback.
And it's okay if the number is negative at first.
Totally. Okay. The workbook is really clear on that, especially if you have student loans or are early in your career. It's just a starting point, not a grade. Tracking it shows your progress.
Which naturally leads into setting goals, right? Tying back to that why.
Precisely. The workbook uses the standard time frames. Short term, under 5 years, midterm, 5-10 years, long term, 10+ years, and it suggests picking maybe 3 to 5 big ones to focus on.
Like becoming debt-free short-term, saving for a house midterm, retirement long-term, that kind of thing.
Yeah, those are common examples. The main thing is prioritizing what matters most to you now.
And these goals need to be specific, measurable, not just save money.
Right. It's save $6 per month towards Y goal, or pay an extra $1 per month on this debt to be free by date. That specificity is key.
Because then those goals become part of your budget, things you actively track. And hitting them is what actually increases your net worth.
Exactly. It all connects.
Okay, foundations are set, mindset's work in progress, you're organized, goals are defined. Now, the spending.
Now the spending, mastering your habits. And the workbook is blunt. Tracking your spending is an eye-opener.
It's about awareness, not judging yourself.
Absolutely. Finding out where the money actually goes, identifying those habits, those little leaks you think you know, but the numbers often tell a different story. Food, groceries, eating out, those are often the big surprises.
And it suggests starting with pen and paper for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's an interesting psychological angle. Physically writing down every single transaction, coffee, online purchase, whatever, seems to create a stronger connection and awareness than just looking at a bank statement later.
So how much time does that take?
Just a few minutes each day to jot things down, then maybe 15-30 minutes a week to review. The workbook even has a little journal format asking not just what you bought, but why and how you felt about it.
Well, the feeling part is interesting. Connecting emotion to spending.
Yeah, it reveals a lot. Beyond that initial tracking, it suggests looking back at, say, 3 months of statements to spot patterns. Where are the big categories? Where could you realistically cut back?
That daily coffee versus making it at home, for instance.
Right. The point is making conscious choices, spending intentionally, deciding where you want the money to go instead of wondering where it vanished. And that frees up cash for goals.
Which helps tackle the bad habits the tracking might uncover.
Exactly. Overspending, not having a budget, paying bills late, carrying credit card balances, using the emergency fund when it's not an emergency, those forgotten subscriptions.
So how do you break those habits, according to the source?
It's a 2-step process. First, identify the habit, where, when it happens, and trigger the feeling or situation. Second, plan an alternative. What can you do instead when that trigger hits? Reviewing statements helps spot those patterns.
And all this feeds into budgeting.
Yes, the power of budgeting. The core idea here is paying your essentials and your financial goals first before the discretionary spending.
Paying yourself first.
Exactly. When money comes in, funnel some immediately to retirement, to your emergency fund, before you pay the bills or think about wants.
And that emergency fund is non-negotiable.
Absolutely critical, the workbook stresses. It's your safety net: job loss, medical issue, car trouble. It stops you from wrecking your whole plan by racking up high-interest debt.
How much should be in there?
The target is 3 to 6 months of your basic living expenses: rent or mortgage, utilities, food, transport, insurance, the must-haves. And if you have kids, they're basics too.
Okay. And the workbook talks about different budgeting methods, like percentages.
Yeah, it presents them as frameworks, not rigid rules. The 50-30-20 is probably the best known.
50% needs, 30% wants, 20% savings debt payoff.
That's the one. 50% for essentials, 30% for discretionary stuff, and 20% for future extra debt payments. Building that emergency fund, investing.
But it mentions other variations too.
Oh yeah, 80-20, 70-20-10, even custom splits. The point isn't the exact percentage, it's finding a structure that helps you allocate your income purposefully.
So creating the budget means listing income, listing all expenses fixed, variable savings goals, and seeing if it balances.
Right. Compare income to planned spending, make adjustments, and there's often a worksheet to help figure out that emergency fund target and plan how to save for it.
Okay, budget's in place. Now, the big one for many people, debt. It can feel overwhelming.
It really can. But the workbook's message is that it's manageable. It takes changed habits, maybe some reprioritization, but you can do it.
And the first step is getting radical about seeing it all.
Yeah, visually. Write down every single debt: credit cards, student loans, car, medical bills, everything.
Yeah.
With the balance and, crucially, the interest rate, seeing it all together is powerful.
The workbook distinguishes between good and bad debt too, right?
It does. Good debt is often seen as leverage for something that might appreciate or increase income potential, like a mortgage or maybe student loans. Bad debt is usually high-interest debt on things that lose value or just consumption, like credit cards.
And that leads to payoff strategies. Snowball versus avalanche.
Exactly. Two main methods.
Snowball is smallest balance first.
Right. Pay off the smallest debt first, regardless of interest rate, to get quick psychological wins. Builds momentum.
Avalanche is highest interest rate first.
Correct. Mathematically, this saves you the most money in interest over time. So it's a trade-off. The feeling of progress with Snowball versus saving more money with Avalanche.
And the workbook gives tips to speed up the process.
Loads of them. Beyond just sticking to your chosen method, it emphasizes keeping that positive mindset.
And practically.
Pay more than the minimum whenever you can. Even a little extra helps chip away at principal and saves interest. Consider consolidation maybe, but be careful with intro rates and fees.
Increase income temporarily. Side job, overtime.
Yep, or sell stuff you don't need. And then the expense cutting. Maybe trim the cable package, find a cheaper phone plan, tack lunches, carpool, get strategic with groceries, make a list, don't shop hungry, look for sales cancel subscriptions you aren't using.
And using windfalls like tax refunds or bonuses for debt.
That's a big one. Resisting the urge to splurge and throwing it at the debt instead.
What about student loans specifically?
Prioritize based on rates, balances, terms. Often, private loans have higher rates and less flexibility, so tackling those first might make sense if you have both private and federal. Look into forgiveness programs or repayment options, too.
Okay, debt strategy in place. Next up, credit scores.
Right. Building good credit. First reminder, you can get your free reports annually from the big three bureaus, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion via annualcreditreport.com.
What's considered a good score?
The workbook cites myfico.com, saying roughly 670-739 is good and 747-99 is very good. Aiming for those ranges pays off.
How so? What are the benefits?
Lower interest rates on mortgages, car loans, credit cards. It saves you real money. It can also impact insurance rates, and landlords or even some employers might look at it as a sign of responsibility.
So how do you improve your score, according to the workbook?
Step 1, get those reports and check for errors. Dispute anything wrong.
Step 2, pay bills on time. This is the biggest factor. Set reminders, automate payments if you can. Catching up helps, but consistent on-time payments are key. Step 3, lower your credit utilization. That's how much credit you're using compared to your limits, especially on credit cards.
Exactly. Owing $950 on a $1,000 limit is terrible for your score. Paying down those balances is huge, and bonus, it saves you interest money too.
And finally,
Don't apply for a ton of new credit all at once. Each application can cause a small temporary dip.
Okay, credit handled. What about protecting assets? Insurance.
Yeah, insurance. It can feel like just another bill, but the workbook frames it as essential protection against financial disaster.
What types does it cover?
The main ones: health, auto, homeowners, or renters, which are often required anyway. Life insurance, especially if people depend on your income.
Disability insurance, too.
Yes, super important. It protects your income if you can't work. Also, maybe specific policies for valuable items or extra coverage if you have a home business.
The goal is basically plugging any gaps that could sink your financial ship if something bad happens.
Precisely. It mentions home security measures too, which can sometimes lower premiums, but the main point is risk management.
All right, solid foundation, story, mindset, organization, budget, debt plan, credit, insurance. Now we're ready for investing.
Now we're ready to talk about really building wealth through investing. The workbook defines it simply as making your money work for you.
Through assets growing in value or earning interest or dividends.
Right. Appreciation, interest, dividends. It's about moving beyond just trading your time for a paycheck. Investing offers diversification and that amazing power of compounding growth over time.
But people are often scared of investing, right? Losing money.
Definitely. The workbook tackles that head on. It suggests facing those fears with knowledge. You can even list your fears, figure out what you need to learn to counter them, and track your learning progress.
It explains market ups and downs too. Bear markets, bull markets.
Yeah, basic concepts. Bear markets are when prices fall, can be scary, but also potential buying opportunities. Bull markets are when prices rise, lots of confidence. Briefly mentions bubbles, like 2008, where things get overvalued.
But the real engine is compounding.
That's the core message: money earning money, which then earns more money. The examples show how starting early, investing consistently, and getting decent returns makes a massive difference over decades. But even if you start later, consistent investing is still powerful.
Before diving in, though, there's a checklist. Are you prepared?
Yes. Important questions. Do you have a steady income? Is your emergency fund full? Have you paid off high-interest debt, like credit cards? Have you planned for near-term needs so you won't need this investment money soon? Is your insurance sorted? Gotta have the foundation solid first.
Okay, foundation's good. Then what?
Define your investing objective and your risk tolerance. How much risk are you comfortable taking for potential reward?
Conservative, moderate, aggressive.
Sort of. Conservative focuses on preserving capital. Aggressive seeks higher returns, accepting more risk. Most people are somewhere in between. Knowing this helps you stick to your plan during market swings and avoid emotional decisions or chasing hot stocks.
Then it gets into types of investments. Stocks, bonds.
Yep. Stocks mean ownership in a company, potential growth, and maybe dividends. Bonds are basically loans you make to a government or company earning interest. Generally less risky than stocks, but still have risks.
But it suggests most people should focus on funds.
Right. Instead of picking individual stocks or bonds, which is hard, consider funds. They pool money to buy lots of different investments.
Like mutual funds or ETFs.
Exactly. It explains the difference. Actively managed mutual funds have a manager trying to beat the market, usually higher fees, often don't succeed long term.
Versus passive funds.
Like index funds, they just try to match a market index, like the S&P 500. Lower fees, and historically, they tend to outperform most active funds. And ETFs, exchange-traded funds, are similar to index funds, low fees, but you can buy and sell them throughout the day like stocks, often very tax efficient.
And the workbook leans towards index funds and ETFs.
Strongly recommends them for most people due to diversification and low costs. It lists some popular options from big firms like Vanguard, Fidelity, Schwab.
How do you research these funds or stocks?
Look at the fundamentals. Understand the company or fund's financial health, its plans. Check historical performance, but consider the context. Know its objectives. And critically, check the fees. Expense ratios, other costs. Lower fees mean more money stays working for you.
It also mentions simpler portfolio strategies, like a 3-fund portfolio.
Yeah, ways to get broad diversification easily. A common one is U.S. stocks, international stocks, and U.S. bonds. Simple, low cost, historically effective. Or even simpler, a 2-fund portfolio, maybe U.S. stocks and bonds. Asset allocation in the mix is key.
Okay, where do you actually do the investing? Brokerages.
Right. You need an investment avenue. Brokerage firms act as the middlemen. Could be full service, advice, higher fees, discount, just transactions, lower fees. Or online robo-advisors. Automated investing, low fees, often handle rebalancing for you.
What about hiring a human financial advisor?
The workbook gives great advice here. Get recommendations, check their background, interview them. Ask the crucial question, are you a fiduciary? The answer must be yes. That means they're legally required to act in your best interest. Understand how they're paid too.
But even with an advisor, stay involved and educated yourself.
Absolutely.
It's still your money.
Then there are the different accounts for investing. Retirement accounts.
Yeah, huge benefit.
Tax advantages.
Like 401k or 403bs
Right.
through work.
Employer-sponsored plans often come with an employer match that's free money, higher contribution limits. Contributions might be pre-tax, traditional 401k, or after-tax, Roth 401k, affecting when you pay taxes. Growth is usually tax-deferred.
And IRAs, individual retirement accounts.
Yep. Traditional IRA, pre-tax potentially. Roth IRA, after-tax, tax-free withdrawals in retirement. Lower limits than employer plans usually. SAPs are for self-employed folks. Tax rules vary.
And regular brokerage accounts.
Those are non-retirement. You invest after-tax money, and you pay taxes on gains when you sell. No retirement tax breaks, but also no withdrawal penalties based on age.
And a big warning about borrowing or withdrawing from retirement accounts early.
Huge warning. It lists all the negatives. You lose potential growth. Compounding stops. You might face penalties and taxes. If you leave your job, you might have to repay immediately. Use the emergency fund instead.
How do you figure out how much you need for retirement?
It gives a basic formula, thinking about your estimated annual expenses in retirement, how many years that might be, factoring in taxes. Online calculators help a lot, considering inflation and potential returns.
And investing doesn't stop at retirement, right?
Not at all. Retirement is a period, maybe decades long. Your money keeps working. Your strategy likely becomes more conservative, focusing more on preserving capital and generating income than maximum growth, but you're still invested.
Okay, last point on investing, rebalancing.
Right. Keeping your portfolio aligned with your target asset allocation. Say you wanted 70% stocks, 30% bonds. If stocks soar, you might end up with 80% stocks. Rebalancing means selling some stocks and buying bonds to get back to 70-30.
When do you do that?
Maybe once a year is a good baseline, or if market shifts really throw your allocation off. Or as you get closer to retirement, you'll shift to be more conservative. Robo-advisors often do this automatically.
When should you sell an investment?
Good question. Maybe you reached your goal for that money, or you need the funds for a planned purpose, or maybe the investment itself is fundamentally flawed. Now, bad company performance, scandal. Selling at a loss can happen. Focus on the long-term overall picture. Patience is key.
Okay, shifting gears slightly. The workbook also covers building other income, like a side hustle.
It does. Recognizing that requires similar traits. Patience, focus, perseverance, the right mindset.
What's the advice for starting?
Reflect on your skills and passions, but mostly make dedicated time for it. Schedule it. Minimize distractions. Ask for support. Be realistic about the commitment.
Where do business ideas come from?
Anywhere. Solving a problem you see, using a talent or skill, pursuing an interest. The workbook stresses that commitment is actually more important than just raw passion.
And it covers basic business planning.
Yeah, simple stuff. What problem do you solve? What's your legal structure? An LLC is often recommended for liability protection. Who is your ideal customer, really understanding them?
Detailing product services, pricing, delivery,
Hmm.
and checking out the competition.
Right. Not just what competitors do, but how you can be different, offer a better experience.
What about branding?
More than a logo. It's your identity name, colors, fonts conveying your mission, and your brand story. The authentic why behind your business that connects with customers.
And having an online presence is essential today.
Non-negotiable, really. People search online first. A consistent content strategy, planning what you share, builds authority and keeps you visible.
Website versus just social media.
The workbook makes a strong case for a website. You control it, unlike social media platforms where algorithms change. It builds credibility, attracts search traffic, showcases everything clearly.
Key pages, home, about, services, contact, legal stuff.
Exactly. And your content strategy uses different formats, writing, video, audio, whatever fits you and your audience. A schedule helps manage it all.
Okay, what about the money side of the business?
Starts with estimating startup expenses, the initial costs to launch. Website, registration, maybe inventory.
Then operating expenses, the ongoing costs.
Right, monthly costs like software, marketing, supplies. Some are fixed, some variable, growing with the business. Categorizing them helps see where the money goes.
Tracking profit versus expenses is key.
Vital. See what's profitable, where you're spending too much, which services sell best.
And a business budget.
A simple plan, maybe a spreadsheet, forecasting income and expenses, helps manage cash flow. A break-even analysis tells you how much you need to sell just to cover costs.
Pricing is tough.
Yeah, common struggle. The goal is getting paid fairly, maximizing profit, but staying competitive. It mentions different strategies, cost-based, value-based, etc. Testing helps.
And tracking business metrics.
Crucial. Financial ones like revenue, profit margin, marketing ones like customer acquisition cost, website traffic, where are people coming from, what are they doing? Start with just a few key metrics and review them regularly.
Finally, the workbook gets into building a team and personal growth,
Yeah, recognizing you can't do it all alone. Growth often requires support.
like hiring help, a virtual assistant.
Could be. For tasks you can delegate, it gives a checklist for hiring. Define the need, find candidates, have clear contracts.
Then mentors.
Invaluable. Finding them through your network, events, communities. Requires being intentional.
And this loops back to personal reflection, changing your narrative.
Exactly. Reflecting on your past, how it influences you now, and consciously choosing a more empowering future narrative. Maybe creating an affirmation about deserving success.
Overcoming adversity, advocating for yourself.
Yeah, handling criticism, setting goals, negotiating, having tough conversations. These actions build confidence, reminding yourself of your value.
Taking leaps of faith.
Scary, but necessary for growth. Trust your gut, but be strategic. Weigh pros and cons, have backup plans, believe in yourself.
And finally, inspiring others despite negativity.
Standing strong in your truth, remembering your why, your journey can make an impact. Reflecting on how far you've come builds resilience.
Wow. Okay, that was a comprehensive journey through the Clever Girl Finance My Wealth Plan Workbook. We went from understanding your money roots and defining your motivation.
All the way through the practical stuff, organizing, spending, budgeting, debt, credit, insurance, laying that solid groundwork.
Then into the wealth building parts, like investing, the mindset, getting ready, the different types, strategies, how to actually do it.
And even exploring building alternative income with a side hustle or business, covering the financial side of that too.
And woven throughout, that thread of personal growth, getting support, pushing past fear, really stepping up.
Yeah, it really is presented as a complete roadmap, step by step, designed to help you take charge, build wealth, and create the life you want wherever you're starting from.
And it's flexible, right? You use the parts that apply to you now, come back to others later.
Exactly. It's your plan.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something to think about. Out of everything we just discussed, from your money story to maybe investing or starting that business, what's the one step that really resonates with you right now?
Yeah, what feels most relevant or urgent for you? And then think about this. What's one very small, totally doable action you could take, maybe even today, to move just a little bit forward on that one step?